So we've got this, so the video's running, video's running, so systems of equations, word problems, this is actually money word problems, okay? And so it says Rowan feels incredibly rich. He has a total of 23 nickels and dimes. Not 23 nickels and 23 dimes. Not 23 nickels and 1 dime. 23 coins composed of nickels and dimes. Does that make sense? You see that? Right? So, and they're worth $1.35. Woohoo! How many of each coin does he have? Okay, so we're going to use systems of equations to solve these. And when you do systems of equations with stuff like this, especially with money, you think of two things. I want one equation that focuses on quantity of coins. Quantity of coins. Quantity means how many, right? And then one equation that focuses on the value of the coins. All right. How many coins does he have?
23.
23. And what type of coins? Okay, so we'll use N for nickels and D for dimes, okay? Does that make sense? And that's how you're going to do all of these. Like if it's pennies, it's P. If it's quarters, it's Q. If it's nickels, it's N. And if it's dimes, it's D. I'm sorry? Right? So how could I write an equation that using N and D that talks about the quantity of coins? Yes, Gavin.
5x plus.
No, just the quantity of coins. Now think about it. N stands for the number of nickels. N stands for the number of nickels. D stands for the number of dimes. I think you were going to the value. I want you to just focus on the quantity. How many coins are there?
23.
23. So what's my equation?
23 R equals 26.
I want to, but 23, there's 23 what?
Okay, is it N plus D equals 23?
Ah, there we go. Did you hear that? Say it again.
N plus D equals 23. I knew that like right as I said it.
Right. N plus D equals 25. Right?
23.
I mean 23, sorry. 23, sorry. It's 23. N plus D equals 25. Does that make sense to you? Right? Does that make sense? Caleb, does it make sense to you? N plus D equals 23? All right, so that's the quantity of coins. Now we've got to talk about value of coins. If I had 1 nickel, what would it be worth?
5 cents.
I'm sorry, what? 5 cents, right. And if it was, okay, and it was 1 nickel. So what could I, for the value of a nickel, the value of a nickel is 5 cents, right? Value of a nickel would be 5 cents, so 5 times whatever number of nickels I'd have would give me my value of my nickels. So whenever I have nickels, it's going to be 5N for my value. If I had dimes, it's going to be, what's the value of a dime? 10 cents, so it's beginning at 10D. If it was pennies, it would be 1P. And if it was quarters, it would be what?
25.
What would it be for quarters?
1 Q.
Well, what's the cents in a quarter?
25 cents.
25 cubes, right? Right? So nickels, the value of a nickel is 5. So you put the value 5 in front of the n. That would give you value. If you had 2 nickels, it would be 5 times 2, which is 10 cents. You see what I'm saying? For dimes, each dime is worth 10 cents. So 10 cents times the number of dimes. Okay, did I miss something? Reagan? Okay? Pennies, 1 cent times the number of pennies. 25 cents times the number of quarters. That will tell me my value. Does it make sense? That's my value, right? Okay, so I'm going to write that. 5N plus 10D equals what? What's the value on, and look at the, 23 is my number.
135.
Yes, 135 cents, exactly. Exactly, does that make sense, Tom? You see that?
Yeah.
All right, so now we have a system. Just recall, the first one is just the number of coins. The
Oh, I
second
thought
one
it
is
was
the value of the coins. They're really, really easy. I just see so many things happening in here. It's so very hard to teach you guys, just so you know. Because I look around and I see people looking at people, winking, smiling, laughing, but they're not looking up here, so it's really a difficult class to teach. That's why I get a little frustrated. But if you guys would just focus up here, that would be really helpful. So now, what would we do? How could we solve this? How could we solve this system? What would you do? Would you use systems equations or substitution?
Probably, elimination.
I'm sorry, that's what I meant. Elimination or substitution. I'd probably use elimination. Now, what would I do up here? Would I do something to this equation to solve this by elimination? What would you do?
You might
by negative 5.
You could do -5 or you could do -10. When I have dimes, I think, to me, I know what 10 times 23 is, right? It's really easy. 23 times 10 is 230. I just added 0 after it, right? But I don't know what 5 times 23 is personally, so it's easier for me to deal with the 10. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing times -10. Does that make sense? And that's going to give me -10n minus 10d equals -230. Does that make sense? All right, so now I'm going to add these together. These cross out. That gives me -5n equals, is that 95? Let's see, 230. So when the signs are different, I keep the sign of the bigger number, and then I subtract the littler number from the bigger number. So that's 95, right? So 95. So now I'm going to divide by -5, divide by -5. N is equal to positive, those become positive. 95 divided by 5 is, I think it's 19. Am I right? Because 5 times 20 is 100. So 5 times 19 would be 95. That sounds right. So my number of nickels, or Rowan's number of nickels, is 19. And his number of dimes is 19 plus D is equal to 23, right? Subtract 19. And that gives me D is equal to 4, right? So number of dimes equals 4. Number of nickels equals 19. Right? Makes sense, right? You get that?
Yeah.
So I have two equations. One is my quantity of my coins, the number of the coins, where you use just N for nickels, D for dimes, Q for quarters, and P for pennies, right? And then the other one would be the value, where I put, in front of nickels, I always put a 5. In front of dimes, I always put a, in front of dimes for value, in front of dimes, I always put a 10, right? Because the value of a dime is 10 cents. In front of the nickel, I always put a 5. In front of a quarter, I always put a 25, right? Okay, that kind of thing. So that's basically it. Do you feel like you get it? And it's not hard. It's actually, they're kind of fun. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just end the lecture and let you work on the homework. All right?